I'm Melissa.
And I'm Mike. Are you Alyssa or are you Melissa? Because I'll
I'm
be honest with you.
Alyssa.
Yeah, the internet's a little confused because little bit of backstory. Sometimes I do some like pre-production type stuff through some of the popular AIs with the podcast after or post-production, I guess that would be after we record. And the general consensus is when it transcribes our podcast that her name is not Alyssa, it's Melissa. So, but then we'd be I think we've said that before. We'd be the Eminem podcast, and then
Yeah.
we'd be violating some copyright, I'm sure.
Even
So,
if I said I'm it could still
yeah,
translate to May.
yeah, right. So, how's your day going, Alyssa?
It is good. I just started to feel real tired all of a sudden. Time to drink my coffee.
Yeah, I am drinking I guess you call this a carton coffee. This is a Starbucks.
No,
It's the
that's not a carton
brown
coffee.
sugar. Oh, okay. Well, it's a
I would
bottle coffee.
I would get up and show you what a true carton coffee is. Like the International Delight comes in literally a carton.
Oh, it's pre-mixed and everything. Okay,
You
no,
just pour it over ice.
this is like the brown sugar, whatever, shaken espresso one, but it's the bottled one. So then it's the concentrate too. So you put 6 ounces of this, 6 ounces of water, and then I added some almond milk, and it's delicious.
Yeah, Nicole made me a brown sugar shaken espresso the one day when I went over there. And now thinking back, because she used her Nespresso, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if she had a Nespresso pod,
Right.
or now thinking back to it, really what I could do, I think she has brown sugar syrup. So
Oh, sure.
really, I could get brown sugar syrup, because that's what I asked for. I asked for extra brown sugar syrup in my coffee. If
Mm-hmm.
you listen to, the Do
Yeah.
You Know Me
Yeah.
episode.
Right.
Um, so I wonder if I could do like a double espresso with just like milk and
And the brown sugar syrup.
brown sugar
You know,
syrup.
you can make that yourself too. You just get brown sugar and water.
True, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
Because I
that would be.
actually like brown sugar in my coffee. Like if I run out of coffee creamer or something, I'll do brown sugar and milk or half and half or whatever I have.
Yeah, yeah,
Even just brown sugar and coffee makes it really delicious. But
yeah.
anyways,
Cool.
I'm just drinking
So,
regular coffee with creamer in it. That's not what our
no,
episode's about though.
no, nothing too controversial about coffee. But
Never.
I guess we were going to talk about one of the current, well, a few of the current or recent like trends with uh, kind of discussions, debates on the internet. The hundred people, 100 humans versus one gorilla.
No, 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 no. A
No,
hundred men
see, I've seen it.
versus one silverback gorilla.
I didn't want to be sexist by saying men because I've seen it
That's
put
what it
as
is, though.
100 humans.
No,
Well,
uh,
that's a different debate right now, I guess. But anyway,
I'm seeing a
the
hundred men.
okay, 100 men then. So, well, first of all, what are your thoughts on the debate? I mean the debate, but in and of itself. In other words, not who do you think would win, but what do you
Yeah,
think about something so silly becoming a debate? Like my thing is, why are we talking? Like, why is that a thing? Like,
I
has
just
there
think
been a
it's
concern of,
if that happens.
was it Planet of the Apes? Planet of the Apes. Somebody saw Planet of the Apes and said we could take one of those down, and right?
The funny thing to me about it is just like really hyping up the gorillas because
Yeah.
if I was a gorilla, and obviously they don't understand what's going on right now on
Right.
social
Right.
media, but like
They don't have the Twitter.
you know, very humble of them that
Yeah,
like so many people are saying that they could take on 100 men easily
I know.
and they're just,
I think they just have good hype
not
men.
bothering anybody.
Yeah, right.
Like they really could take over the
They're just
world
off
if it's
living
that
their
bad.
lives. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like
They're
y'all
just
really it could be Planet of the Apes if like with them being with their strength.
yeah.
So I follow this guy on TikTok. I'm pretty sure he's a doctor.
Okay.
And he came out and he was talking about the debate because obviously everyone's talking about it. And I was very much on the verge of like, of course 100 men can take on a gorilla. It's 100 men, like, and but then now, are who are we talking about? Are we talking about, like, smaller
Right.
men, or are we talking
Right.
about, like, 100 Adrians?
Like, yeah. Oh, wow. Are we
Like
talking about like
stronger, tall
Florida,
men.
the Florida man, or are we
But
talking about?
who's that
So
boxer?
here's there's a lot of them.
Floyd Mayweather? Is he the
Oh,
one he's older now? Is that who I'm
yeah,
thinking of?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they asked him, they were like, "Hey, do you think like 100 of you could take on a gorilla at your 100 of you at your prime could take on a gorilla?" And he said no.
See, here's the problem with that debate, though. It's too generic because you're right. You're talking about like because here's why I think that the answer is yes, that they could, because there's two things that 100 humans or 100 men would have that the one silverback would not: strategy and weapons.
No, you can't have weapons. Probably, I'm pretty sure it's
Oh, okay. Well,
pow pow pow.
still
Give him that one
strategy.
too.
Strategy. They'd have strategy.
So the doctor that I was listening to, because I was with you as well. Like,
Right.
of course, 100 men can take it on.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we have teamwork. We have, I don't know, but this doctor was saying that, I guess, just in general, like, we're talking about like a fight to the death,
Right.
right? And he was saying that a gorilla's skin in itself is just like, you can't bite through it, you
Okay.
know?
Okay.
Like you can't just, yeah, you can't just like
I guess without
a
weapons.
gorilla's skin is so, I mean, I'm sure like a bullet could go through it, but like in terms of just a fight, like a one-on-one fight,
Right.
a gorilla cannot just like, or you couldn't just punch a gorilla hard enough and tear his skin or whatever. This
Okay.
guy said that a gorilla
So
could,
does that mean like, punching a gorilla that it's going to take a lot to make him bleed? Basically is
I
what
mean,
you're
all
saying.
100 of you would have to go around a gorilla and literally be, and even then, yeah, exactly. It would take a lot to bleed, break skin, hurt him enough. You can't, I guess his bones, he was also saying that a gorilla's bones are so thick and like dang near unbreakable for a human to break,
Yeah.
that, but like he could literally, a gorilla, the strength of a gorilla, he could lift up like like thousands and thousands of pounds. A gorilla could literally pick up one man and throw him into like 20 other men and take
Yeah.
them out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I did read on Google that the average gorilla is only 5'5", which I was like, why is a gorilla my size?
Right. Yeah.
But he
Well, they
also
don't
weighs,
stand. They don't. They probably. It's probably like because they're not standing upright like we do, though, right? They kind of hunch.
oh yeah,
They
so like
slouch.
me, if I, yeah, so like, I guess, yeah, true. Like, bad posture. He's probably 6 foot, but bad posture. Um, Weighs about, I think, 400 pounds. No, I think it was like 400 pounds.
Okay.
And yeah, their strength is just incredible. And again, they don't have the same build that we do. Their skin is tougher, their bones are stronger. Oh,
You have a mute button there you could use for those
I
just
guess
for
it wouldn't mute you. Is it really
yeah.
bad? I'm sorry, guys. I can't hear
No, no,
myself, so I'm just
no.
assuming like
It's
you
fine.
can't hear me either.
It's fine. It's not that disruptive.
Sorry.
I wonder what that. I'll have to see what that comes out as on the transcript. That'd be very interesting.
Melissa coughs.
Yeah, in
Melissa coughs
parentheses.
again.
Yeah.
Is there some way that you
But
can edit it, that it does that?
I actually
That would be
can edit it.
funnier.
I actually can
Oh,
edit. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, I think the funnier thing to me is that like these things trend like who starts these things and how do they trend so much? Who started the whole
like it
debate?
catches on.
Yeah, who started this whole debate of like who would win in this fight? So then the question becomes to me, how many humans would it take to defeat one silverback?
I don't know. I feel like it would be definitely a lot of casualties. I've seen a lot
casual.
of
Well,
funny.
yeah, yeah. See, I personally think that and by we I don't mean me because you
You
know,
wouldn't you wouldn't
yeah, I
volunteer
would
as tribute.
I would not because I'm of the I'm one of the ones that's too smart to get involved in that fight, but or maybe like assuming that they're all like surrounding him, I'd be in that outer group, like figuring 100, so you'd have like maybe 10 in the first row, 10 behind. I'd be in that last row that by the time he was almost almost defeated, like, or after he was defeated by the first 80, I'd be there going, yeah. That
Well,
would be
because that's
me.
what a lot of people are saying too. They were saying that like a gorilla doesn't have like a gorilla, his stamina would be bad, or he wouldn't
Right.
have like enough stamina to fight 100 men anyways. But that's what I'm saying. I think it would definitely take more than 100 men, just because of the simple fact of literally he could like use one man to take out
has
20.
has anyone asked, like,
The
Grok
gorilla.
or
Oh,
one of the AIs, like, who would win?
I don't
I'd
know.
be very curious what they'd say, like what their logic behind it would be.
I
You
asked
know?
Google and it said I think Google said the man.
Oh, really? Wow.
I asked Google. This was when I was on my like no, the man would win. Yeah.
Oh, see? Yeah, but were you saying things to lead it in that direction?
No, no, no. I just said would a I forget how I worded it, but I just like asked a basic question of like who would win. Are you asking ChatGPT right now?
Yeah, I am. I am. So, let's see. I'm saying who would win in a fight to the death? 100 men, 100 menu, 100 men, or one silverback.
But even then, like even with the gorilla losing stamina, I still find it a little hard to believe that like men would be able to like kill the gorilla
Okay, so
with their bare hands.
now I've got some reasoning from ChatGPT. Okay, are you ready for this? First of all, what do you think its
Beautiful.
answer is?
Um, Men. I can't see your
Men.
face.
Okay. In a fight to the death between 100 unarmed men, it changed it, by the way, to unarmed, so it knows about this. It knows about this. And one silverback gorilla, the odds strongly favor the 100 men, but with major caveats. Strength: the silverback gorilla is immensely powerful. Well, is immensely powerful. Shut up. Anyway, now I lost my place. A silverback gorilla is immensely powerful, estimated to be as strong as 10 plus adult men. So, okay, so that's the first 10. The first 10, slow them down. Then the next 20, really slow them down. Then by the
But
time
a
they get
fight
to
to the
my
death.
line at the end, he's like already almost gone. So,
I did see like when people were talking about it, they were saying like, oh, you could go to you would just really have to go in there fighting dirty, like
yeah,
start going for his
poke him in the
eyes,
eye
like
first,
yeah, they
right?
were saying like trying to pull his eyes
Yeah.
out and
Oh, oh,
but oh, and
yeah,
they also were saying that the doctor also said that a gorilla's skull is just he literally had a side by side of our skull and a gorilla's skull,
yeah,
and he was saying that just the bone density, I guess, of a gorilla is just so thick
yep.
that a gorilla's skull in itself could literally kill you just by headbutting you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it says durability. Gorillas have thick muscles, dense bones, and high pain tolerance.
Hmm.
Gorillas are not trained fighters. They rely on brute force and intimidation, while 100 men can potentially swarm and overwhelm it. Coordination, if they coordinate the attacks, that's what I was saying, is that we would have strategy. They could subdue the gorilla, though likely heavy casualties. If the men were untrained, unarmed, and panic easily, see, that's why, you know, untrained, unarmed, the gorilla could kill dozens before going down. If the men are organized and willing to accept losses, they will win, but not without dozens of injuries or deaths. So 100 men win, but it's ugly, bloody, and not a landslide unless they act strategically. So there we are. So
Imagine being a part of the winning crew.
right, all the ones who survived. Because again, the first line, you're done. Your only
You're fighting
purpose.
to not be in the
And
front of the
so
line.
here, so let's talk about the strategy side of it, though, right?
Okay.
So the strategy would be the smartest people and the smartest men in the group would be the ones that would come up with all the attack plans, right? Like they would be the ones that would they would send in the strongest, just bulkiest, best fighters first to wear them down. Maybe you'd save a few because you want like the second line of attack to be as strong as the first, or to
I'm
be.
assuming all 100 men are there just standing in a line.
So what? One at a time? We're just like taking punches at? No, that would
No,
be.
no, no. Like red, like lined up, like Red Rover, Red Rover.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that.
Like a lineup, a whole, like dodgeball. Like all
Yeah.
100 men on one side, the gorilla
I'm
on the
thinking of it
other.
more like the gorillas in the middle of a circle of all these hundred men
Oh yeah,
in like
I was giving
and
him
in.
more of a dodgeball court.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, unless we're playing dodgeball, then I
They were also
definitely think the
saying
100 men would win.
So they were also saying that that is actually a big factor of like environment, and they're like assuming the gorilla has um is on home court. They
Right.
were saying that if the gorilla if it's a fight on just a flat surface stadium style, then the gorilla won't have anywhere to escape and climb on and
Right.
catch his breath or anything.
Right.
But if it's in his territory, which
Right. Yeah, but even then, if it's in his territory, then I think it would only be fair to let the men use sticks and rocks.
I still don't feel like sticks and rocks are going to be enough to beat the gorilla.
I'm, the funniest thing about this, I just keep coming back to, though, like, who started this debate? Like, who was sitting in their house going, you know, who do you think would win in this fight? And that it sounds like one of those conversations, like, you know, a couple of drunk guys have at a
I was going
bar.
to say that we're having like overdrink.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how did it turn into more than that? And I think like you had mentioned some of the other similar things, that the one from, oh gosh, I don't know how many years back, few years back, there was that the color of the dress, the
That was
debate
like
over
when
the
I
color.
was
I
in
think it
high
was like,
school.
yeah, it's like, is it gold or blue or something, like gold and
It
black or
was
blue and white or something.
golden. It was blue and gold, or no,
I think it was blue or gold because I remember,
blue and black, or white and gold.
yeah, that was it.
Blue or black or
And
white and gold.
And that was another one that was like, that was a real thing, though. Like there were people that looked at that and saw one thing, and other people looked at it and saw another. I also think that in some cases, though, there were multiple versions of the picture out there.
What did you see?
I forget, honestly, it was so long ago.
I saw blue and black. To this day, I see blue and black.
You know what, I think I might have seen both versions of the picture, to be honest, because I remember seeing one and being like, oh yeah, that's blue, and then seeing one and being, wait, no, that's gold.
Yeah, you might have seen like an
So
edited
were they
version.
the same pic? Yeah, that's. I think once the debate got out there a little bit, I think, and the question I had with that is, did it impact like colorblind people? Was it because there's a large percentage of all three of your brothers are colorblind, and
Mhm.
they see certain colors differently, which I never.
Only men can be colorblind.
Is that true?
Hmm.
I knew it was more possible in men, but I didn't know it was only men.
Yeah, women can't be colorblind.
And the thing about that to me that I don't understand, though, is if from the time when you're a child, you're not born with the knowledge of colors, right? You only know what people tell you. So if people are telling you that a certain color, it, like, this is red. I think with color blindness, they say green is like the color that people have problems with, or shades of green, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but if you're from the time like you're born, you're being told what color something is.
Hmm.
Like I don't understand where it comes in unless it's something that develops as you get old. You know what I mean? Because if I'm telling you that a color is red, you should identify that as red. if I'm telling you that something is green, you should always identify that. If you're being taught, in other words, that something's red or green, you should always identify that as red or green, unless something happens to your vision or your brain or whatever it is at some point that changes what you're seeing. You know what I mean?
So this says humans are born colorblind. The cones function when a baby is about 4 months old. At 1 week after birth, a baby can see red, orange, and green. It takes much longer for babies to see blue. Wow, that's interesting. You know, babies when they're first born, they also see at first, like when they like first come out, they see upside down.
Yep, that's why they throw up so much. No, it's not. I don't. That's
But that is why they're like,
yeah. That's why they give you that look. Yeah, it's not
because
that
there's,
they're like happy to see you. It's that you're
yeah,
upside down.
yeah.
Yeah, that's wild to think about that too. Like that clearly when you're born, things are still, developing. It's also amazing when you think of animals, like the difference in animals, like a newborn calf or a newborn what's a baby horse called?
A
Is that a
isn't it a
foal?
calf? A pony?
Pony? Yeah, whatever. A newborn horse. Like they come out and they're walking. Giraffes even, giraffe comes out as a baby at 6 feet tall and it's walking. Humans, it takes like a year for them to get to walking. It's
Yeah.
wild to think about that like different species. Now, we live a lot longer than they do, but, well, some of them, not all of them.
I love a baby animal. There's nothing I love more than a baby animal, really.
Let's see. So, some other things, similar things that I was looking at, though, to these debates. Yeah, I can't remember. There was another big one
Hold on,
other
I had
than,
one. I had one that I saw online that made me chuckle. How to pronounce GIF.
oh, GIF or GIF.
GIF, GIF, or they have gift with a
Gift.
silent T. Some people might
So,
say with a
so,
silent T.
so GIF.
They're adding letters. No,
Yeah.
well, they're not with a silent T, like with a like silent T because it's not actually there.
Oh, so they're adding a T, in other words.
They're adding a T. Yeah.
Could you send me that gift? What gift?
What do you say? I say GIF.
I think I don't know. I think I say whatever I feel like at the time. I think
So
GIF is
you
what I
say
say
you
though.
have times when you say GIF.
I always say, yeah, I think so. Well, no, because GIF is a peanut butter, so I would only pronounce it that way if it began with a J. And there's my argument for it being GIF and not GIF.
So GIF. Yeah, that's what I don't understand about people pronouncing it with a J.
Yeah, it
GIF,
makes
like the peanut butter. GIF.
yeah,
That's
yeah, G, G. But I get G is like George, is J. It has both sounds, So
not in
I,
this
I found
situation.
I found a list here too. I don't even know what website this is, but I found a list of like I guess recent ones. One of them is: do you wet your toothbrush before you apply toothpaste, or do you
That's a
wet
crazy
it
one because like who
after,
doesn't
or
do that?
both? Yeah. Do you
I
wet
do
it
it
both though?
before.
Do you do it before and after?
Yes, because you have to clean it off.
Well, no, I'm saying you put the toothpaste on,
Yes.
you wet it, and then you brush your teeth. In other words, you wet the toothbrush, put your toothpaste on,
Yeah.
wet the toothpaste, then brush your
Oh yeah,
teeth.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I do.
yeah,
Yes.
me too, me too. I
It's
think
all
that's
it's how I've always done it and that's just how
this.
I'm going to continue to do
Yeah,
it.
this is funny because the way it's worded it says, "Do you wet your toothbrush before or after applying the paste?" Spoiler: the answer is before and after. So I think that's funny.
I've probably had
And
times when I haven't maybe wet the toothbrush first, but you know why I wet it first? Just to like, give it an extra clean off.
yeah, well, I think it softens the bristles a little bit. So you want to soften the bristles, and then you wet it the second time with the toothpaste to take away a little bit of the like graininess of the toothpaste to make it a little softer.
Do you use hot water or cold water when you brush your teeth?
Hot on the toothbrush, but obviously I rinse with cold.
Yeah, I use hot the whole time.
Which kind of crust for pizza is better, thick or thin?
think it depends where it is, but I prefer
Yeah.
thin crust.
Yeah, I
I like
prefer
a good
thin
thin
crust.
crust
I
pizza.
prefer some deep dish is good, but I prefer thin crust. Like
I
if I'm
love a
going
good
into a
thin
place
crust
and I have a
pizza.
choice, it's going to be thin. So that is the right answer. Yeah, this gives all the right answers for you. No. Uh, this one's weird. If you could choose, would you rather never have to sleep, never have to breathe air, or never have to eat? I
I
would
love
say,
all of those things.
well, so never have to, but think about it, never have to. Like, yeah, when it's time to go to sleep, I enjoy going to sleep, you know. I when it's time for a meal, I enjoy having a meal. Breathing, I mean, it just you just do it. I'm never like, "Oh, you know what? I could really use a good breath right now.
I
Except when
love
I'm
taking a good deep
maybe when
breath.
I'm working out. Maybe when I'm working out, occasionally it's
I
nice,
mean,
but
yeah, I guess like, because I would want to sleep. I mean, I enjoy that part of my
yeah,
day. And
because
what else am I
never
going to be
having
doing if I never have to sleep?
yeah, and never having to breathe is like imagine how long you could swim. That would be
Oh,
amazing. There's
that's
advantages to never having to breathe. I mean, there's
yeah, that's
advantages to never having to sleep too, because imagine all you could get done.
probably not much because places close. Like our place is just going to be
Yeah,
open and
that's true.
everybody
Well,
isn't sleeping now.
of course. Wow. How do you, oh, never mind. That's not a question. That's a weird question.
What was
What
it?
what kind of bear is best? I don't even know what that means.
There
Some of
was
these
like that one debate where it's like man versus bear or something like that, or would you choose the bear? Do you remember something like that?
yeah, I do. I
I don't
do.
remember exactly what it
It's
was though.
similar it's similar to the 100 men versus a gorilla,
Yeah.
but I think the bear would win. One versus one, that is, I'm saying.
I think it's
100
just those aggressive animals. Like the thing is, the power behind those animals is just like they're just built different. It's not
yeah.
that they're just like strong or whatever. Like the gorilla is not just strong. He also is just built. His body is just so solid that
Right. Yeah.
to like kill to do a fight to the death with something that you can't even tear through his skin,
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
the teeth on him, kind of like a crocodile. Oh, because his bite force too. I think that's what I googled the other
Oh,
night too.
another one.
The bite force of a gorilla. He could literally pick you up and break you in half. Like he could
See,
crush your entire like.
but so that's where I think the strategy comes in too, though, because all so those are all the strengths, but
Yeah.
like the whole thing with an alligator, right? How
Hmm.
the bite force going down is very strong, but the
Right.
jaw, the muscles that open the jaw are extremely weak, which is why you always see the alligator, the people that remove nuisance alligators and that they'll jump on the back of it and they'll be able to hold its jaw shut. If its mouth is shut, they'll be able to hold it shut. They use like duct tape around its mouth and it holds it shut.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that's the weakness, right? That's the strength of the alligator is its bite force. The weakness is its strength to open its jaw. So that's the first thing I would want to know is what are the weaknesses of the silverback? Like, if I pull its hair, does it cry? It's got a lot of
No,
hair, so
because
I
it
could
has a
pull
high
its
pain
hair.
tolerance. Remember?
Oh, that's
Which how do
right.
we know
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, is it ticklish? Maybe it's ticklish.
Maybe it is
You know,
ticklish. Yeah.
it's ticklish on its feet, and I could defeat it that way.
I've never seen Planet of the Apes that you're talking about. I've never
Oh,
seen
really?
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they're good movies. Some of them are good movies.
Usually not just those,
Uh,
like the
how?
Jurassic Park type things.
Yeah. Would you rather go 100 years into the future or the past? I think we've talked about that before. Maybe not.
100 years in the future or the past. I think that was on one of our like Would You Rather games.
Yeah, maybe. I would say um, the future, and I probably said that then because I know what's happened in the past, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
What if something really bad happens in the
And
future?
unless I transfer my brain into a robot, I won't be here to see it.
If something really bad happened in the future, I'd be really annoyed that I chose
I
that
know. I
option.
know, right? Like, yeah, that's true. Like Armageddon, I get 100 years in the future and there's nothing but like piles of burning ash here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, great. Now, now I'm going to just worry. When does this happen while I'm still here? Or
But like a
I'm not
hundred
paying to
years,
transfer my brain into that robot now. I'll tell you that much.
but also like 100 years in the past, like that wasn't that great either. So
Yeah. Yeah.
really, is
Also
it?
true.
Maybe I would take the lottery
Also
of the
true.
future.
Oh, this is a good one. How do you pronounce words like, and I'm going to pronounce them the way I pronounce them: turmeric, aunt, omega, envelope, cement, basil?
I say turmeric. You say
Yeah.
turmeric?
Well, there's an R in it. It's Turmeric, so it's turmeric.
Oh wow, I've never heard anyone pronounce it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Aunt or aunt, I guess. Some people say aunt,
I say
but
both. I go
yeah.
between
Yeah, it
both.
depends. It depends.
Sometimes I say aunt.
Yeah, I think I actually do
Sometimes I
say
say aunt. I've
aunt.
been trying to switch to aunt because
It
I
sounds
don't know.
fancier.
Aunt is
It's
a little, yeah, aunt is a little abrasive to me
yeah.
sometimes. When I
Yeah,
say
it
it, I
just
like jump scare myself.
yeah, you
Aunt.
just yeah. You picture you picture like a small bug.
Hmm. What was the
Omega.
other one?
Omega. I don't know that there's any other way that I've ever heard omega pronounced than omega.
I say omega.
Omega. Omega or omega. Yeah, okay. Envelope. So it's envelope or envelope. Some
I
people
say
say envelope.
envelope.
Envelope or envelope. Yeah. I think I say
Envelope sounds
I think
fancy,
I
like an old
envelope.
person.
I've got to go see my aunt and see if I can borrow an envelope. Cement.
I say
I guess it's
envelope.
cement or
Got to give my
cement.
aunt an envelope.
Yeah. See, mine sounds better. I don't say it that way, but mine sounds better. Cement. I, cement maybe. Do
Some
some
people
people
say
say cement?
cement, but like you're reaching saying
Yeah.
cement. Like, why are you
Basil.
so, yeah.
Basil or basil? Is it basil or
Basil. I say
basil?
basil.
Basil, right?
And maybe people do say basil.
You know another one that I
Basil.
hear on all the lawyer commercials is, how about insurance or insurance? Insurance, where they
Like
put
people
the
just put
emphasis
emphasis.
on in.
Insurance.
Like they always say, the insurance company only offered me. I always say what about the outsurance company?
I say insurance. Insurance.
Insurance, yeah, it's one word. It's not two words. I like the here's the one we were talking about before. Um, this actually has two though. It says, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" Which have we talked about that on here before? I can't
I
remember.
can't remember, or if we just were talking about it in person.
Yeah,
Do you think that
I
a hot dog is a
I
sandwich?
it's on bread and it's meat, and you can have sauce or condiments or whatever on it. You can actually have
A
other
PB and
toppings
J
on it.
doesn't have meat.
Well, I'm just
Grilled
saying
cheese
though.
doesn't have meat. Still a
I'm not
sandwich.
saying I'm not saying meat on a sandwich is a requirement, but I'm saying you put meat on a roll and then add, onions and ketchup and all that stuff. That's a sandwich.
I
Do you
was gonna
consider a
say
hoagie a
too.
sandwich?
I was just gonna say I would take an attack on the bread that you use for it,
Yeah, well, there you go.
but it's just a larger version of, yeah, I guess like a
Is a
sub
ham
roll.
How about this though? You could make the same argument as a hamburger sandwich.
I don't think any of those are a sandwich. I think it's just a hamburger. It's just a
It's just a hamburger. Well, why is it an ice cream sandwich then?
it has.
See, see, it's
I
a
mean, some
slippery
people
slope.
might say like a hamburger sandwich. You know,
Hey, I've never heard it to. I've never. The way I look at it is, where does it show up on the menu? Does it show up on, you go to a restaurant? Does it show up under sandwiches?
some people say that like when they order like a chicken sandwich at a restaurant, I have heard before them call it a chicken burger.
Chicken burger. Yeah, I've heard
Can I
that.
get a chicken burger?
Yeah.
Like chicken
How about
burger?
this? How about this one? This is the second part of that question on this list I have. Is a bowl of cereal technically soup? And the first person answered, a bowl of dried cereal in milk is technically a chowder. So it's breakfast chowder. Like,
Wow.
which, I mean, clam chowder does have milk in it.
I
It's
was gonna
just
say I don't
it's a
think.
cold breakfast chowder.
No, I think that's incorrect. I think that a bowl of cereal is a bowl of cereal because it's cold.
Right. Well, I mean
There's
there are cold soups.
name one.
There's like a I forget what it's called, but it's like a
When I let my Panera
it's a
soup get
cold
cold.
potato soup. Yeah. When I don't eat it quickly enough, then it gets cold. No, there's some kind of cold potato soup. I think it's a Russian dish. I might be wrong. If somebody knows, comment and tell us in the or you know, if I only had a device in my hand that could answer questions for me.
Cold soup sounds awful. The whole point of soup is like for it to be warm.
Let's see. Oh, it's actually it's called Vichyssoise.
Dishy schwa.
It's pronounced or it's spelled Vichyssoise, and it's
Okay, one
apparently
type
it's
of soup
French.
in one kind of culture.
Yeah, I'm just saying again. It goes back to the argument of
What
whether
about
or
the
not
Batman versus Superman?
Batman versus Superman. No, Superman's always going to win. That's silly. And Iron Man versus Captain America. Iron Man will always win.
This says
I don't care.
100,000
I don't care what
gorillas
the
or
movie
the
says.
sun.
Yeah, 100,000 gorillas. That's. I think the sun always wins that fight. This one's kind of interesting. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Wait, say that again. 100 horse.
A
Wait,
hundred
say that.
horses. Would you rather fight? Why are we all fighting animals? What's going on? Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses, so 100 horses that are the size of a duck, or one duck the size of a horse? A
100
duck the
horse-sized
size of a
ducks.
horse. Yeah, a duck the size of a horse is frightening because they got that
Terrifying.
beak. They got that beak, like
Yeah, I'm not doing
tiny
that.
little horses. First of all, I'll just pick them up and put them in a box or
Someone was
something. Like
saying before,
I don't think horses are good fighters. Like
I'm gonna just stay
you know.
ready and like, um, someone was saying even with the gorilla thing, the one guy that I saw, he was like, y'all can't even control your pit bulls when you're outside. Your pit bulls like
Yeah,
taking control of you, walking you down the street, and you think you
that's
can fight a gorilla?
that's very true. That's very true.
Like your dog is taking you down that sidewalk and you can't pull
This is an
back.
odd one. How about this? Is a block of cheese considered a loaf of milk? A loaf of
Yeah, I
milk.
guess so. Kind of.
Could somebody get me a loaf of milk?
No, no,
I'd
no.
like to go into the store and ask, could you tell me where I could find a loaf of milk?
And you're talking about the Velveeta block?
Yeah. The Velveeta block is definitely a loaf of milk.
I
Or
bought a Velveeta block
or milk.
recently, and I don't know why. It was kind of embarrassing to buy a Velveeta block for me. And then I was more embarrassed when I found out that like they kept it in the aisle, like with the dry goods. It wasn't
Yeah.
even refrigerated.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
well,
we
this
were
makes
looking
me
for
not want to buy it
yeah, yeah.
because
Now I'm nervous.
why
That's
is it
like
shelf stable?
yeah, no, but have you ever seen like the cartons of shelf stable milk though? And
No.
I don't know why it's shelf stable. Here's an alternate question, Melissa. Who would win, a gorilla or an alligator?
Gorilla.
Yeah, 100%. The gorilla
Yeah,
would just
gorilla.
snap humans can defeat an alligator. So one human can defeat an alligator, so the gorilla would have it wouldn't even be a fight.
You
Of
know what I
course,
think is a
you
more
get
fair
the
debate? A gorilla or a bear.
a gorilla like a grizzly bear or a like a
Like a
big bear
big
because
like a
like a
big
little
bear.
black bear like we have around here, the gorilla would win, but a grizzly it would be a fight. The first
Yeah.
answer on this, by the way, the first comment anyway, is somebody being like taking it a little too seriously and saying an alligator and a gorilla would never meet since they're from different continents.
I hate that person in the
Oh,
comments. Like,
yeah, like you used your energy to type that answer. Do penguin do penguins have knees?
no, because they
Uh,
have this. Oh no, they have this. Yeah, right. Can they bend down? They probably just sit down and stand up.
this is another one. This is one of those philosophical questions. Does a straw have one or two holes? I say a straw is a hole. Or yeah, yeah.
Two.
Does it though?
It has two.
Is that a hole? Is or is it one continuous hole?
I heard that like I don't know if this is too TMI if you like hate this kind of stuff. Fast forward a little bit, but the same doctor that was talking about the gorillas, he said that if you if you hold in a fart that our digestive system is like a straw and it basically goes up here and down here. So if you hold in a fart, it just comes out of your mouth in the form of a burp.
I don't know if that's true, but
Because our digestive system's like a straw.
yeah, I think it just eventually comes out. I don't think it necessarily comes out as a burp. I think it because
He
there's
says
water
it's
in between.
gas
Yeah,
that has to escape.
right. But there's water in between there that prevents the gas from moving.
No way.
It's like your toilet. You ever look at your toilet at the bottom and it looks like a little like sideways S.
Uh huh.
That's because there's water sitting in there, and that water that's sitting in there prevents the sewer gases from coming up into your house. That's why
Oh.
that's why when after you flush the toilet, you don't smell any of that odor. But if you take your toilet off to replace it, you have to block up the hole while you're working because otherwise you will smell all those sewer gases. So that's what I'm saying is that's not true
Oh my
because
god,
the gas
that's more
trying to get out the
disgusting than my
bottom.
fun fact.
I know, right? The gas trying to get out the bottom. It's going to go up and it's going to hit all that liquid in between, and it's not going to be able to go anywhere, and it's eventually just going to come out the bottom.
So gas and
So
liquids don't mix.
that is the type of doctor you should not trust.
Well, I'll send you the video.
Okay. Some of these are very, very silly. Which are better, cats or dogs?
We've
We
done
all
that
know
before.
the answer is gorillas. Uh, let's see.
Neither gorillas.
Yeah, the answer is ducks, the size of a horse.
How adorable would a horse the size of a duck be? So stinking
A
cute.
horse the
Actually,
size
yeah,
of a
I am
duck.
gonna
I know.
collect
I
them.
want somebody to invent. That's what I'm saying. Like 100 of them, I'd put them in a box and take them to like a farmer's market and sell them because they'd be very pop. And also, like, they're not going to attack you. Like, you know, even if they're the wildest of wild horses, they're that size. They're not going. That duck, like the ducks here, on the lake, look at me sideways a lot of times, and I turn the other
Vicious,
way.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Let alone
and
one
they're
the size
not
of
the
a
size of a
horse.
horse. They're ducks the size of a duck.
Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of scared of just a regular, normal sized duck, let alone duck
How about
this.
this? Boneless wings are just chicken nuggets. That's true.
I
That
don't
is
think
true.
that's
I,
true.
I like I like a boneless wing, but they're chicken nuggets. They're chicken
What
nuggets smothered in sauce, but they're not wings. We
what
have really gone off the rails on this one.
what qualifies a chicken or a chicken wing to be a wing?
I mean, there's a part of the bird that's the wing.
So is a drumstick. Oh, I guess a
Well,
drumstick is
no,
part of the. Oh, yeah.
well, yeah, the part you get is part of. I think it's part of the wing because it's the whole
Yeah,
thing, and
it
then
is.
they
Because I broke
break it
it
into.
before.
Cause, yeah, because like one wing, it breaks into the two pieces, the flat and the.
If I get like a 10-piece wing and they just give me like 10 flats, really? Oh, or not 10 flats. If they give you like
10 of the
if I ask
drumstick
for
piece.
wings and they give me just like 10 flats or 10 drumstick piece, really you're not getting the full wing. They're
I
kind of
know.
ripping you off. Actually,
Yeah.
guys, start a fight about it.
Yeah.
They're not giving you the full wing. They're jipping you
That's right.
on some of that
Who
wing.
like and so okay, this is a good one though.
You're
Which
getting
part is
half a
better?
wing.
Which part is better, the flat or the drum?
I like flats, but I'm not like
Yeah, I
aggressive
like
about it.
they
Where
no
like,
but I think they generally have more meat on them, and they have
yeah,
the better piece of the meat on
I
them.
like eating them more. I feel like I clean up a flat easier than
But
a drumstick.
but I think if you're talking about a boneless wing, what constitutes a boneless wing versus a chicken nugget is it's smothered in sauce. The boneless wing is smothered in
You can
sauce.
get plain.
Or dry some kind of dry rub. If somebody's selling you calling something a boneless wing and it's just it doesn't have any sauce or any dry rub or anything, that's just a chicken nugget. That's all that is.
Which
That's
I
what.
also love.
Yeah,
I
we
think
know that.
people, yeah, there's people that like boneless wings just because they don't like biting
Should
around all
adults be
that.
allowed? Alyssa, you may have a thought on this. Should adults be allowed to order off the kids menu?
I think
I say
so.
yes. I say yes. If that's all I want to eat, let me live my life.
Let me live my life, and some of them like have really good. We went to Cheesecake Factory recently, and they got salmon and mashed potatoes on the meal, like the
Yeah.
kids menu there.
Oh yeah. Sometimes the stuff.
Salmon and
I've
mashed
be-
potatoes? I
yeah
want that.
I've been to restaurants where I looked at the menu and I was like, I really do would like to order off the kids menu. How do
And
you
their
know that?
portions are a little bit better too sometimes because they like the salmon and mashed potatoes they were selling. It's a perfect salmon and mashed potatoes portion.
That was the other one, Alyssa. It was that recording that they played, and they said, "Are they saying Yanni or Laurel?" Remember that one? It was like an audio
Oh, that's
recording.
way back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, crazy. It just
I don't
shows
really remember that one too much.
how much time people waste on silly things on the internet. But if you're going to waste time on silly things on the internet, I say let it be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, thanks for partaking in our little discussion of semi meaningless things.
Bye, everyone. Let us know your
Bye.
opinion.